By the time dessert arrived, everyone had settled into their usual roles. My mother moved between the kitchen and the table, refilling plates even when no one asked. My uncle told the same stories he told every year. My cousins leaned back in their chairs, half listening, half scrolling through their phones. And my brother, Daniel, held the center of the room like he always did. He was good at that. Confident, loud in a way that never seemed rude when he did it. People laughed easily around him. I had learned a long time ago that the easiest place for me in that room was the quiet edge of the table. The outsider role had formed gradually over the years. No one had ever officially assigned it to me, but it had stuck anyway, mostly because of something that happened 8 years earlier. The family business had lost a significant amount of money during a property investment. The story that circulated afterward was simple: I had been careless with paperwork. Missed a critical clause. Daniel had repeated that version often enough that it hardened into fact. I tried correcting it once or twice back then. It hadn't gone well. Eventually it became easier to stop arguing. Dinner moved along in that familiar rhythm of noise and interruption. The turkey was passed around. Someone spilled gravy. My aunt complained about travel traffic. I said very little. Daniel, on the other hand, was in excellent form. He told stories about work, about a neighbor who had tried to sell him a broken car, about how family gatherings would fall apart without him organizing everything. Everyone laughed. At some point my cousin refilled everyone's glasses with wine. That was when Daniel stood up. "All right," he said, raising his glass, "before we all pass out from food." A few people chuckled. He looked around the table with that easy smile of his. "Here's to family." Everyone lifted their glasses. Then he glanced toward me. "Except you." The room burst into laughter. Not cruel laughter exactly. The kind that happens when people feel a joke is expected and they don't want to interrupt the flow of the moment. Someone lightly tapped the table. My uncle shook his head like Daniel had crossed a harmless line, but not a serious one. I smiled. Not because it was funny, because I had been expecting something like it. "Good thing I planned ahead," I said quietly. Daniel raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" Instead of answering immediately, I reached into my jacket and pulled out a thick envelope. The room grew slightly quieter. I placed it on the table in front of him. "Open it," I said. Daniel looked amused. "What is this?" "A Thanksgiving surprise." "Just open it." He slid a finger under the flap and pulled out several folded documents. At first he skimmed them casually. Then he stopped. His eyes moved more slowly across the page. For the first time all evening, Daniel wasn't smiling. My mother noticed first. "What is it?" she asked. Daniel didn't answer. He flipped to the second document. Then the third. His face had changed in a way that was subtle but unmistakable. "What is that?" my uncle asked. I took a sip of water before speaking. "They're copies of the original investment filings from the Lakeshore property deal," I said. A few people shifted in their seats. The deal everyone remembered. The one that had supposedly fallen apart because of my mistake. Daniel kept reading. "There's also the bank correspondence," I added. "And the amended contract draft." My cousin leaned slightly closer, trying to see the papers. My mother looked confused. "I don't understand," she said. Daniel finally looked up. His voice was quieter now. "Where did you get these?" "I was helping a client sort through archived property records earlier this year," I said. The firm that handled the deal kept full copies. The table had gone still. I thought it would be worth reviewing them. I continued. No one interrupted. Turns out the clause everyone blamed me for wasn't missing. My uncle frowned. "What do you mean?" I nodded toward the documents. "It was removed later. During renegotiation." Daniel's hand tightened slightly on the papers. My aunt spoke carefully. "Removed by who?" I didn't answer right away. Daniel did. "That's not," he started. Then he stopped. Because the documents were right there. Dates, signatures, revision notes. My mother looked between the two of us. "Daniel." He didn't respond. For years the story had been simple. Now it wasn't. "I didn't bring this tonight to embarrass anyone," I said quietly. That part was true. "I just thought if we're making toasts about family, it might be a good time for everyone to see the full version of what happened." The room stayed silent. Daniel set the papers down slowly. No one laughed now. Even the cousins who usually avoided family tension were paying attention. My uncle cleared his throat. "So the loss wasn't your mistake?" "No," I said. The word hung there, not angry, not triumphant, just factual. My mother leaned back in her chair, like something inside her had shifted. Across the table, Daniel stared down at the documents again. The confidence he carried earlier hadn't returned. Eventually someone in the kitchen asked if anyone wanted coffee. No one answered right away. The dinner didn't end dramatically. No shouting. No sudden apologies. Just a quiet rearranging of things people thought they understood. When I stood up to leave later, my mother hugged me longer than usual. Daniel didn't say anything as I walked out, but the version of the story that had followed me for 8 years no longer belonged to him alone.